Hey everybody, big day is here. Got my NS911 Athearn Sd60e finally. Long awaited, so strap yourselves in. This is going to be a long one. It's going to be a two-parter. First part's going to focus mainly on the model, details, pricing, all the different things it can do, and then I'm going to do a part two, which is going to cover the sound install for it. So let's get this sucker open. So, I literally just walked in the door from work. Let's see what we got here. Pretty cool. And I got this for, I guess, 186-ish there. I got the DCC ready version, mostly because I didn't want to get the Tsunami 2 version of it. And as Athearn's marking all of their stuff now, specifically saying LED, or that it supports LED right on the box. So we'll go ahead and get it open here. And Athearn first did this box design on the Union Pacific 1943 unit. So it looks like they followed that with this one. So we got the warranty card, their newsletter. This looks like a special insert here. Parts guide. Okay. Oh, what do we got here? Cab variations, I guess. Warranty notice. Manual. Yeah, who cares? This is what we really want to see. I don't know if there's anything else in the box. No little secondary parts baggie. So that's kind of everything right here. Get this out of the way. At first glance, it feels like it has a respectable weight. Kind of feels a lot like what an Ace would weigh. Get rid of these handrail protectors. Alright, so just taking a look at it here. Rear ditch lights. Some people were saying that the top paint on theirs was not very exact. I'm just taking a look over mine to see a little mark there. I don't know if that's a dust speck or what. Yeah, it was just dust. Mine looks to be pretty crisp. So I have no complaints, at least initially, here with the paint. And the color seems to be pretty dead on. I did see this unit once in person. I think I do have a picture of it somewhere. Let's get on the track here and take a look at it. I'll give you a look at the top here. It comes with the PTC. I'm not sure if this is one that has a removable roof, So we'll kind of see if we can do that. Does not appear the roof comes off. So not like some of the other Athearn diesels. This is kind of an extreme example, but I did turn up the light on my camera just so we can see some of the side detail. There's a little silver bearing cap there. Lots of little decals on this. See if we can zoom in a little better on there. Got the flag on there, which is pretty cool. And I think that's a little chain here in the back. I'm going to take a look at these rear ditch lights here. Take it off the track just for a second here, just so we can zoom in a little more on that. Very nice detail here. It has the little extra knuckle couplers on there. I like when manufacturers include that. And they also had the presence of mind to properly paint some of the things like the step detail. So at least initially, from just taking a look over the detail, seems very, very good. So I'm going to pause it right here, and then I'm going to go ahead and start on the install of the sound. And then when I come back to this section in the video, we're going to get ready to take a look at it on the track and start running through some of the operating things about it, such as the motor and its capabilities, quietness, durability, pulling power, etc. And then we'll run through a list of some of the sounds and take a look at the lighting effects also. Alright, so I got my decoder in, got my lights all working the way that they're supposed to. So we're going to start off with the motor functions. And we're going to start off with some speed tests here. So we're going to go through at speed step 1 on our speedometer here. And just see what it can do as far as a crawl. A lot of this is dependent on the decoder, but I do have this pretty much fine-tuned. Generally, the further under 1 scale mile an hour at 1 speed step is kind of the better operation. I usually try to get it to run 1 mile an hour, but if it can do slower than that, that's better. And it's creeping along pretty slow. When I had it apart, it seems to have the typical Athearn Genesis motor that most of their other products seem to have in it, so I don't believe that it's a different motor. I know some of the Sd60e ACEs have questionable performance, and it's been kind of inconsistent over the years. Oh, so slow it can't even read the speed. So, pretty good. And we're going to go ahead and do a max speed test here. And I have run the locomotive for about an hour, so it does have some break-in time on it. I'll wait for it to spin back around here. 77. We'll see what it does on the next pass here. Generally, as long as you're getting 70 to 75 mile an hour out of one of these, that's all the faster they're going to run anyway. 77 again, so pretty consistent. We're going to go ahead and check the quietness of the drive. That's about half throttle. Pretty quiet. So I just hooked up a bunch of cars to it here just to kind of see what its limit was as far as how much it could pull. And it ended up stacking up to about 34 cars. Now, 34 may seem like a low number. However, these cars are weighted down pretty heavily. Most of them are coal cars, so they have the coal load, and most of these are AccuRail cars, which are also properly weighted. And then I have a flat car at the back that's loaded up with a bunch of axles. So this is a very healthy load that's on here. And I'll take a spin by here, and you can see everything that's loaded up. Not a prototypical batch of cars here. I just kind of threw on what I had available just to try the pull test. You can see how long the train is here. Doing an excellent job of pulling it though. And here's some of the new Hubert's cars I did in the previous video. Got those coal loads in there now. They look really, really nice. And this is the car that really weighs a lot. And it's doing it with ease. So just for reference here, I want to see if an Athearn Sd60e ACE can pull this same load. I don't think that it can, but we're going to go ahead and try it. And the reason I keep mentioning that engine so often is that's kind of the measuring stick for most Athearn diesels. That's kind of been their best performer, at least historically. So we'll see if it can do it here. So we'll see if the Virginian Heritage unit is up to the task. Just going to mute that there. And it is not. It's already slipping. You can hear it struggling. It ain't going anywhere. That's at about speed step 35, and it's just spinning its wheels. So, pretty strong there. So at least in terms of pulling power, I'd say that this is kind of the new champ, at least within Athearn. Not counting things like the DD40AX Union Pacific, which is kind of cheating because that thing is humongous. But for your normal, 6-axle diesels, this is pretty good. So next we're going to check out kind of the way that the ESU worked out in this and some of the different functions. So we're going to go ahead and start it up here. And I'm going to turn off a couple of the functions here. So your F0, of course, is still going to work the headlight. And I'm going to kill some of the lights here. so at least you get a little bit better idea of it. And again, this is with the new LEDs that Athearn is using. And I have F5 set up for the number boards. And then I have F6 for the ditch lights. And then F7 I actually set up for the ground lighting, which you'll see pops up right in here. So that's a new feature that's in this engine. Pretty cool. I think it's the first I've saw that really included in any engine outside of custom work. And we'll go ahead and turn the lights back on here. And we'll go ahead and crank it up. So this is with the proper ESU file that's for the Sd60e. So we got our E-bell there. And we'll give it a couple horn blasts here. And just taking a look at the rear here. Was also able to make the rear lights functional as well. So the way the functions work on these is it actually uses 6 of them. So on functions 1 and 2 basically controls the front ditch lights, and then 3 and 4, 3 is actually the number boards, front and rear. Function number 4 on the decoder is the ground lights up front, and then 5 and 6 are actually the rear ditch lights. And I did make another video, which is going to be out here soon, which covers the installation of the ESU in this engine. A couple last things to go over in this part here. I did change out the couplers, both on the front and the back, to a KD. Up front, I'm using a standard length. In the back, I'm actually using a slightly longer one. And the reason that you do that is that if you don't, you actually will have trouble going around corners. And I'm going to show you here with the SD70 what I'm talking about. So we have a short length up front here on this one. And we're going to match that up against the short that's in the front here. Now keep in mind this is on a 28-degree curve. You can see how close those are even on the straightaway. Once you start to go around a curve and a corner, super tight. I mean, it just barely clears. So if you're on something like a 26 or a 24-inch radius, it's just not going to work very well. So having that longer coupler on there lets you run a little bit smaller radius, which, you know, if you're running like 30-inch radius or 32 like I have here on the outside, or even 28, you might be able to get away with it, but not everybody can run that kind of degree of track. So that's just why I put a little bit longer one on the tail there. And visually, it doesn't look that bad. Just gives you a little more clearance to work with. So there you have it, Athearn Sd60e. I think it's safe to say that this is probably the best diesel that Athearn has ever released. I really, truly can say that. Really no quality control issues out of the box, which is very rare for a lot of the Athearn engines that I've purchased. Unlike a lot of Athearn other engines that I've purchased, it was very easy to put sound in this engine. Pretty easy, pretty foolproof. The LEDs, thank goodness after all this time we finally got them. I really feel like this is, what Athearn Genesis should have been about 5 years ago. The only one gripe that I really have against this engine is the price. So for what I spent on it, to the speaker, the decoder, the model itself came out to about $272, which is pretty consistent with what a lot of the Tsunami 2 versions are going for. I think a lot of them are going for like $269, and there's going to be some variance in shipping and taxes or what kind of discounts that your dealer gets you. So those things vary a lot, but safe to say that it's getting closer to $300 with sound versus closer to $250 or $225 or $235, like a lot of them, a lot of the Athearn diesels were not all that long ago. But they've done a really good job here. I'm not really even a big Sd60e fan, but I like this engine. Just in the couple hours that I've been messing with it here, it's really grown on me. It's a really nice engine. The paint scheme, I'm not in love with it, but I do like red. It is my favorite color. So as a Norfolk Southern collector, this is kind of one that you have to have in your collection. And I'm really looking forward to 6920, which is the veterans unit, which is probably still about a year away. But really looking forward to that one when it comes out. And I think that's going to look fantastic next to this one. So that's it for this video. Like I said, I will be releasing probably like almost at the same time as this video the install on how to do the aftermarket decoder, or other types of sound other than Tsunami 2, or even if you bought a DCC ready version and you want to put Tsunami 2 in, the guide is pretty much the same. I just prefer ESU, and that's why I opted to go with the non-sound version. So there you have it. Pretty cool engine. That's about it for this one.